Hello and welcome to the Encephalitis Podcast. My name is Prav Prathapan and I'm from Encephalitis International. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome onto the show a patient advocate, music educator, singer-songwriter, and survivor of anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, the amazing Mohammed Haswadi bin Nazran. Welcome to the show, Mohammed. It's great to have you here. How are you today?
Hi, Prav. Thank you. As I told you earlier, I almost forgotten that we have a date set, but I'm here now and I'm ready to go.
Brilliant. Better late than never. Great to have you. You have such an inspiring story involving your wonderful wife, Dr. Maria Hastuti Soedarsono, as well as about how music has helped your recovery process. But before we get on to that, could you talk us through a little about your life before you first started experiencing symptoms?
All right. I was a shipping manager. I buy and sell containers worldwide. I was doing very well in the shipping industry. I got married to my wife, and on top of that, during that point of time, my wife was working on getting her MRCP done so that she is allowed to work in Singapore because she's a foreign doctor, and she passed, and we had a son. I think just before my symptoms, my son was around 3 years old. So life was smooth sailing, right? The wife just got a job in the hospital here. I'm like making good money, right? And I have an awesome son. So everything was great.
And then I believe it was in late 2018 when things started to change.
Yes, that's correct. Um, just 1 month before I was admitted to the hospital, there were two complaints that I had. One was I cannot sleep, and then another one was all the lights started to become bright. Every light that I see started to become brighter than usual. Um, yeah, and then I'm not sleeping sometimes at 3 to 4 days in a row. Right. Then after that probably I get some sleep and then I continue on my day again. At first my wife thought that it could be an eye issue because uh, for my work I have to be on the screen all the time and my eyes get very bad. So I started to even like download like those blue screen filters. I tried every method. I just cannot look at the screen more than 10-15 minutes. So it's very hard and interfering in my work. So we thought that it was an eye problem. We went to this National Eye Care Center, go through all the tests, all good, still nothing as well. But the photophobia, which is the glaring of light, continues, and the insomnia continues as well. Until at one fateful day where my wife found me having seizures on the bed. Yeah, and then that is when she straight away called the ambulance and admitted me to the hospital. So that was like the first attack, right? Right after the insomnia and the photophobia.
Right. And I believe that after you got into hospital, so you've had this kind of it was like a misdiagnosis initially.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so initially the doctors was trying to find something wrong with me. They scanned everything. Uh, didn't go through an MRI though. We had a brain scan. Like they scanned almost every part of my body to figure out what is wrong with me. They actually concluded since there is no scan that shows anything that results in my seizures, they thought that I'm depressed and wanted to send me to the mental ward. uh, Lucky enough, like second day I think was the one where they thought that I have some mental problem. On the third day, I had seizures again in the hospital this time, and yeah, lucky enough my wife was there again. Fated, every time I have seizure my wife is there. This time she also recorded the seizure because the first thought was they thought my seizures were malingering because the doctors did not see what's happening at home. So my wife recorded the seizure and then sent to the doctor and shows that this seizure has no sign of malingering, or and my wife was also very adamant that my husband has no depression. Like I'm on a high, I'm having everything I want in life, Like, how can I be depressed, right? So then that is when my wife, read all the journals and stuff and still trying to figure out what is wrong with me. And then the first thing that she was trying to push was for a lumbar puncture. Uh, it was very hard to get. She told me she had to go through a lot of things. But lucky, she also is a doctor. So probably it's a bit harder to get somebody to just pull some fluid out of my spine. And when they got the fluid and they got the results, then they told my wife, okay, we found some antibodies and your husband it's confirmed that your husband have anti-NMDA encephalitis. And that is when my wife started crying, she told me. But the doctor said, Miria, no, you shouldn't cry. This is good. Now we know how to treat him. That was what exactly the doctor said. Because before that, they do not know how to treat me, right? So then we went through, so straight away they put me on IVIG. I was on off in the hospital bed, so for 1.5 weeks or 2 weeks in hospital, I do not remember much, right, during that episode. And the next thing I remember was I was discharged and then suddenly I'm home. Okay, and then that's the start of the recovery process, which in itself another drama.
Absolutely. I mean, that's such a you're so lucky that I guess your wife was there to see having the seizures, and this is the first time I'm hearing of someone recording the seizures to use as part of the diagnosis process. And it's so good that she was so quick to suggest taking a lumbar puncture as well. That's such an important moment, taking that LP, and then that got you immediately onto the IVIG. So yeah, so now you're home. Could you talk us through the recovery process?
Yeah, so in my consciousness thought that fine, I already took the medicine, I'm free, I'm ready to go to work and everything. I got like a 1 month hospitalization leave. So that was the time I was trying to do my recovery. But when I got back to work, I started become frustrated easily. I started to make very silly, easy mistakes. On top of that, the conversations that I'm having with my wife is very weird for me because I felt that I'm being myself, but according to my wife, she said that I am not. You are totally a different person. Like, I am less responsive. I used to think out of the box. I do not like pause for so long just to answer a simple question. So until at the point of time when she told me that you are not the person I married before, that is when it suddenly struck to me that am I still sick? Because I thought I'm okay. Am I still sick? And then I make mistakes at work. I have problems with my family. So that is when I thought that, okay, I may still be sick. Oh yeah, not only that, when previously before I had my first seizures, I was having insomnia. Now after the IVIG, I started having hyper sleep. So I need to sleep every 10-15 minutes. I have to sleep. I tried to fall, and it was during COVID, right? So the main hobby of everybody is running because that's the only time where you can take off the mask. Right? So even while running, I can feel my eyes drooping and I need to sleep. So that's how bad it is. Back then, I run for 5 kilos. When I got home, I cannot sleep. Now I just run for 200 meters and I feel sleepy and I need to sleep. So that is also that hits me. Also, on top of that, my wife as a doctor feels that yes, the probably whatever medication that they gave is not working. So we went to the doctors, got warded again, go through IVIG again, and still the same. Now the photophobia starts to come back, the glaring starts to come back. And what hurts me the most is that my wife specifically want me to meet this doctor because this doctor is supposedly trained in anti-NMDA encephalitis in Korea, right? But the doctor just like brush it off, saying that there's nothing in the literature that states all your symptoms. Um, Probably you're just depressed again, right? Okay. Yeah, and that was the point of time when I was truly depressed because I felt if the best could not save me, probably this is just the condition that I have and I just have to live with it. Um, But my wife did not give up, and it's like totally. She is a black and white lady. Like anything medical, black and white we follow. Just because of my condition, she even went outside of her medical boundaries, just try and solve my problem. Like she will give me supplements, she will ask me to try maybe do gluten free or do this and that, which is totally out of the scope, right, to treat anti-NMDA encephalitis. And she did not give up, and I said that that is the most important thing because she didn't. I almost give up. I tell you the truth. That she will also keep asking me to play the guitar. And when I say that I felt that I am myself, when I picked up the guitar also I felt I'm not myself anymore because I totally forgot. I forgot how to sing, I forgot how to play. I was frustrated because it's like something new that I have to pick up all over again. But she was very insistent, no, just keep playing your guitar. So that is another part of my recovery process. Right, going through all that, once again, my wife never give up, and then somebody recommended to my wife, hey, why not you just meet this doctor? Maybe he can help. So I meet this other doctor. He told me, oh yeah, all your symptoms are correct. Yeah, guys are like that. They will be um, quiet, and then they just play with their phone. They will not respond, and so on. All the symptoms of your husband is the same for guys who have anti-NMDA and stuff like this. So this is what I will prescribe to you. I will prescribe you this CellSep immunosuppressant pill. You just eat this, and you should be fine after a few weeks. And yes, I started to get better with that. Yeah, so here I am.
Wow. So 2.5, 3 years, that's an incredibly long time. And you've mentioned your music. Before we move on to the music and how it helped you recover, could you talk us through the impact this had on your family? Because you mentioned you had a son as well. What was it like to maintain a family life within these years?
Yeah, it was actually it's mostly hard on my wife, basically because my son was still young. So I'm not sure whether the trauma have carried on, but he seems fine. He's a good footballer. He's good in his academics, so everything is good. But for my wife, where she is Indonesian, she came to Singapore because of me, right? She got a job here, everything, live in Singapore for me. So I was the one settling everything, like paying the bills, what to do next. To her, this is still a foreign country. And when I was not around, like she don't know how to pay bills. She said she have to like learn by herself how to pay bills, even directions where to go, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's the most hardest on my wife. Then on top of that, also, all her family is overseas. She's alone with me, right? And I am like the only one who always speaks to her. I'm like her best friend, where she gets her guidance, where she gets her direction, and that is also gone and taken away from her, right? And she tell me like at night she will just, just cry with my son because she herself is at a loss. But yeah, one thing about her is that the next day she doesn't give up. She will try. She is very persistent and she will try. And she tried, she did, and this is what she gets.
Wow, incredible. Yeah, this kudos to your lovely wife. This is an incredible story of not giving up,
Yep.
persistence, resilience. Yeah. Um, and so, yeah, moving on to the recovery process, and when you picked up your guitar, you've talked about how music and creative work supported your recovery process. How did this happen?
Yeah, as I said, I thought that I was myself, but actually I forgotten how to be myself. Right? Playing the guitar kind of reminds me of all the memories I had with my wife first and foremost, because one of them our main dating journeys and our marriage is that I will always pick up the guitar and play a song for my wife. So this is when I played this song at this place, and this is what happened. So all the memories started coming back, and this is how I react. This is how I behave. I'm like relearning myself through music. So every time I play the guitar, it reminds me of a memory back then, and then that memory in return, teach me how to be myself again. So that's how music helps me.
Wow, that's incredible. That's such a beautiful part of the story. Did you also find like listening to music as well also helped as well?
Mm, right now, yes, I would say right now, yeah, because I usually cycle to work, right? While cycling to work, I will on the songs that I love back in the past. And when I listen to this song, I remember, oh, during this point of time, this is what I did, how old I was, where did I go. You started reminiscing back all these past memories, which I do not even do it when before I had my symptoms. Right? Yeah, listening to music always takes you to a place or to a memory, and that is where you relearn, and then in a way I feel recover in whatever I have lost.
Brilliant. That's so incredible. And so these days you're now a patient advocate. You also talk about mental health. Could you talk about what you're up to these days and raising awareness of anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis?
Alright, so I'm part of the Autoimmune Diseases Singapore group. Um, I the last thing I did with them was I did a guitar workshop with all the autoimmune patients, in hope that you can play an instrument and help you in your recovery. For I did one with Resilient SG, which is a songwriting workshop. It helps you to share your pains or your suffering or your hopes or through song, right? Which also would help your recovery process. I'm also part of Open Voices, is a patient partner advocacy, a patient research and researcher advocacy, where they have research programs that have patient input instead of just researcher input together, which I actually wrote their second theme song, which is coming in uh, 16 November. I'm also part of Singapore Patient Advocacy Network, SPAN. The latest I did with them is we did their 25th anniversary music video. I was part of another lady who lost her voice, and and even the doctor said that she can't get back her voice. She actually went to a vocal teacher to get her voice back, and now she's singing. She wrote the song, so I'm singing the song with her, with one talented doctor and another talented nurse. Yeah, yeah, that's what I've been doing in the advocacy network.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you so much for doing that incredibly important work. Um, yeah, so Wadi, as I know you, we've come to the end of the podcast. I was just wondering, we've talked a lot about anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, misdiagnosis, the importance of doing a lumbar puncture so early on, your incredible wife and her involvement in the story, impact on your family. Um, and of course music and how it's helped the recovery process. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to mention before we close off?
Now, I just like to mention that in any challenge or difficulties that you have, as long as you have a good support, everything will go fine. Yeah, as in this case, it's my wife, and it could be anyone in your community. So look for it, look for that support, and you should be fine.
Brilliant. Yeah, and also never give up. There's
Yes.
always light at the end of the tunnel. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Mohammed or Wadi. Thank you so much for being part of the Encephalitis podcast. It's been great to have you.
All right. Thank you so much, Prav.
That was Mohammed Haswadi bin Nazran, patient advocate, music educator, singer-songwriter, and survivor of anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis. And as we come to the end of the podcast, I'd like to thank you, the audience, for listening and watching. We hope you have found this episode of the Encephalitis podcast helpful. If you have been affected by any of the issues raised, wherever you live in the world, please contact our support services. Encephalitis International is here to help in whatever way we can to achieve our aim of ending death and disability from encephalitis. If you can support our work, we would be extremely grateful. Please visit www.encephalitis.info/donate. Thank you again, and see you next time on the Encephalitis Podcast.